Hello everybody, this is Monica Heltz with your daily Fishers Health Department update. A couple of words about the metrics. I know that we moved into orange yesterday and we're all really sad about that. I'm hopeful that we can come back down again before too long. We are at a 7.2% on our county percent positivity rate, a 7.9% on our Fishers testing site rate, and our case incidence rate right now is at a 15.9. So all of those metrics put us pretty solidly in the orange category, at least for now. Our other secondary metrics that we consider at a lower level, if we're thinking of tipping the scale in one way or another, would be our testing turnaround time, appointment availability, contact tracing capabilities, and our hospitalization data. Those are all still in the yellow and green categories. So no major concerns on those. They're not bumping up or anything. Just wanted to let you know why we're in the orange. Just a word of explanation. I've seen some misperceptions out there about what case rates mean and what percent positive tests mean. So the percent positivity rate that we're looking at, that tells us how many cases out of the people that we test, what percentage of those were positive. So that means that we can, even if we have more testing happening, if the percent positivity rate is going up, then we can be fairly confident that the disease prevalence is going up. So it's not the only measure. There are other things that affect it, and that's why it's important to interpret more than one measure and to interpret them in context of what we know is happening. For example, when we had a testing delay at our testing site, we know that some of the places have been only testing people with symptoms, and that's going to drive up the percent positivity rate. But incidence, having more disease around, also drives up the percent positivity rate. Having more tests available does not drive up the percent positivity rate. So that's one of the reasons why this metric is important, and why we look at it as a primary indicator for disease transmission in the community. The other metric that we're looking at, that case incidence rate, that is how many new cases are reported each day. And it's not based on the report date, it's based on the date that the sample was taken, on the date they were tested. But how many new cases per day are we getting? So right now in Fishers, we are on a 14-day average. We average this out because our numbers go up and down a lot. We're at about 14.85 cases per day. The way that we make that comparable to all other places is we take that number divided by our population times 100,000, and that gives us a case incidence rate, which is 15.9, and that's a number that we can compare with other cities of various sizes so that we can compare how much disease we have, regardless of how big our population is or how small our population is. So that's just a way, another way to kind of look at the data. The other thing I want to comment on is I know that 14 cases per day or 15 cases per day may not sound like a ton in a city of nearing 100,000 people. And if you calculate that on a percentage, it's going to be really, really small on cases per day. However, if you think about the fact that each and every one of those cases is going to be placed in isolation for at least 10 days. So then you have 15 cases per day times 10 days, you have 150 people on isolation on any given day. Add to that the number of close contacts that each of those people have that need to then be quarantined for 2 weeks, and do that math. So each person on average, depending on how active they are, could have anywhere from, let's say 2 or 3 immediate household contacts to 10, 20, 30 close contacts if they're out and about in a busy work environment, something like that. And then all of those people then have to be quarantined for a solid 2 weeks. So you can see how easily this can get out of control in a school setting or any other congregate setting where we're dealing with a lot of people. And that's why we recommend cohorting in those settings, and in order to keep those close contacts to a minimum, avoid having to close too many things down. So there's measures that we can take, there's mitigating steps that we can take, and that's why we've recommended those specific steps for the schools, is just to try to keep a handle on that, because we know as much as you want to get your kids back in school, the bouncing back and forth is going to be really problematic. So the more we can minimize that and keep everybody healthy and keep everybody from being exposed, the better that will go. So that's your update for today. Take care, everybody. Thanks so much for listening.